Well, what inspired me was when Zainab Azizi, the president of my production company, came to me and said, here's this story I just heard and it's great, we got to get involved in it. So I met with the writers, with Zainab, and we heard their pitch, and it was great as she promised, and I was excited by it, excited about the story and the character possibilities. So that's really what drew me to it. I really liked the what if aspect of the movie, of their screenplay. And that what if aspect was, what if a woman that at work was cheated by the boys club, held down by corporate management, unable to succeed because of the way things are in our society. She's got this terrible mean boss who treated her terribly unfairly. And what if they crash landed on this island and the roles were reversed? She knows how to survive in the wild, it's her hobby. He knows nothing about real leadership or self-management. He's a coward and a weakling, and he still tries to be boss, but finally the truth comes out of who's responsible, who's capable in the real world, and who's not. That's what was really interesting to me. The crew contributed a tremendous amount, from our production designer, Ian Gracie, to our director of photography, Bill Pope, all the great prop people and the people that created the world of the island, which wasn't really an island, and obviously everything that was made by Linda was taught to us by a survivalist, Kai, and all the props were fashioned from things that could really be there. So we paid great attention to detail, because the story is so off the wall that we really needed to ground ourselves in the location, the things that she actually could make, could hunt, the environment. We tried to be accurate to it. And it really starts, though, with the grounded performance of Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. They're so real that we needed to be grounded by that, and they achieved that. And that's why I think the movie is fun to watch, because you can take this outrageous trip if you've got roots, and that's what they provide. He really had to harness the wilderness and find the place for us that was perfect as the island, and have a vision of where their camp could be, where they'd walk, where they'd hunt, where they'd fish, where the climax would take place, which was the structure. I don't want to give away too much to the audience, but he also designed the sets of the office. He found a building and he made it all work according to our needs, and he had the best taste in props and set deck people. I mean, his teams that surround him are as brilliant as he is. They would handcraft or find the right ways that a survivalist would really, I mean, not a survivalist, that Linda Little would go to on the island, having practiced survival as a hobby. She's somebody that wants to get on the show Survivor. But also on the weekend, she goes to national parks, state parks, and practices as a hobby her survivalist skills. So we really had to have a production designer that led us to the right people all throughout. And we had a great producer, JJ Hook, who found the locations, who found the crew. JJ was our line producer, and he was also our executive producer. And he had worked with the crew, and many of the elements that we needed, he said, this will work, this city will work, this production designer will work. He's the one that introduced us. He really found key elements that made the picture sing, and I can't thank him enough for that. He's a brilliant producer. The plane crash was really planned out by myself and a number of storyboard artists and pre-visualization people from the Third Floor Company, and we figured out every shot up to a certain point, precisely down to the lens and the camera movement, and then we kind of improvised when we got there, but it was really well thought out. And it's because so much of the physical effects had to be created ahead of time. Which seats come out, how big is the hole in the side of the plane? Is it happen in one set, in one moment, or are there stages to this crumpling of the metal of the jet fuselage? Is it happening in stages? And there was a tremendous amount to figure out what will the suspenders catch on. So every detail, like in any film, but more so in this scene, had to be visualized and really practiced and figured out with construction people, with the stunt people in their rigs, with their wires, where will we hide them, with the mechanical effects to blow the air or the mist, with visual effects. It had to be planned, and it was planned and then figured out as we were going, both in production and in post-production. He has a mastery of film and music that nobody else has, and he tells a story with his music. He enhances, he sometimes plays counterpoint when he decides. Sometimes he stays out because the moment will land better like that. He's a never-ending teacher for me of how film music works. And the movie is his. I couldn't ask for anything better than what he delivered. I think that it's perfect for the big screen because it's really an experiential event. The audience laughs a lot together. I've seen the test screening. There's horror for them to gasp at together. They can follow a character's journey and hear each other sigh when they're sad for her or surprised. I've heard gasps, and it's a community experience, and it's great to see, and I hope it's not only seen on the small screen individually, because it is a switcheroo and a little bit of a horror movie, but mostly a what if. I was trapped on this island with my boss, and so many people can relate to a lot of the aspects of it that I think it's a great thing to experience with others.